HR issues can kill you. One complaint against your company can turn your world upside down. And you spend way too much time dealing with HR when you should be spending your time on making a profit. You should talk to Bambi. With Bambi, get access to your own dedicated US-based HR manager starting at just $99 per month. They get to know you and your business while providing HR expertise and the personal touch you need and want. They're available by phone, email, and real-time chat, so onboarding and terminations run smoothly. Team members reach peak performance, and your business stays compliant with changing HR regulations. And with Bambi's HR Autopilot, you'll automate important HR practices like setting policies, training, and feedback. HR managers can easily cost $80,000 a year, but Bambi starts at $99 per month. Schedule your free conversation today to see how much Bambi can take off your plate. Go to Bambi.com right now and type in Accelerate under podcast when you sign up. It'll really help the show. Spelled BAM, BEE.com. Bambi.com. Type in Accelerate.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Welcome to Accelerate Your Business Growth with your host, Diane Helbig. Diane is a leading small business development and leadership coach, author, and speaker who is passionate about sharing valuable ideas, tips, and techniques with business professionals worldwide. Diane brings you the world's experts and gurus in all things business, whether it's sales, structure, social media, planning, or plateauing. Guests bring their expertise and energy to each episode. When growing your business is your focus, Accelerate Your Business Growth is the show to listen to. Got a topic or guest suggestion? Let Diane know. The goal is to make sure you have the information you need to move your business forward. Thanks for joining us. Settle in and enjoy.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. Today's podcast is sponsored by Audible.com. Please head over to audibletrial.com/businessgrowth and pick up your free trial and check it out. Today, I have two guests. My guests are Kevin Harrington and Mark Timm. As an original shark on the hit TV show Shark Tank, the creator of the infomercial, pioneer of the As Seen on TV, and co-founding board member of the Entrepreneurs Organization, Kevin Harrington has pushed past all the questions and excuses to repeatedly enjoy 100 times success. His legendary work behind the scenes of business ventures has produced well over $5 billion in global sales, the launch of more than 500 products, and the making of dozens of millionaires. 20 of his companies have each topped $100 million in revenue. Mark Timm has been a serial entrepreneur and exponential thinking practitioner for almost 3 decades. He started more than a dozen companies, several of which have multiplied and been sold. They are the co-authors of the great book, Mentor to Millions. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Hey, great to be here.
Awesome. So, Mark, I am going to start with you and ask you to share some of what you think are important lessons that you learned from Kevin in your mentor-mentee relationship.
Well, Kevin was kind of the dream mentor for me. He became my guide in my own entrepreneurial endeavors. I had a successful business, multiple businesses, but I kept topping out at a certain level. And when I looked at Kevin as a shark, I'm like, he's taken over 20 businesses to over $100 million. He could really help me to scale. And so, to be candid, I had to, give the best pitch. This guy's heard over 50,000 pitches. And so I went to Kevin and said, hey, look, I know your time is valuable. I know that you've got a lot of wisdom you could share for me. So if you would be my mentor, I'm going to make this easy for you, and I'm going to become your best student. And that was a pitch that he hadn't heard before, thankfully, and he said yes. And so he became my guide in my entrepreneurial pursuits. I learned, probably the two biggest things I learned was about following the eyeballs. He calls it aggressive curiosity. And the shorthand for that is follow the eyeballs. Where are people looking? The chances of success in business and scaling is if your business is in the path of where people are looking. And so I started putting more of my efforts behind e-commerce because, as you can tell right now, we're shopping from home. That's where people are at. And so it was perfect timing for me to invest in that category because, wow, my business this year, I can tell you that I'm actually on my way to my first $100 million business because of my mentorship with Kevin. And then he also taught me a concept about the dream team. And the dream team, here's the mistake I was making. And by the way, so is 99.9% of everybody in their business. I had this crazy notion that I was hiring people I could afford. And, and that sounds so intuitive, and that's what we normally do when we're growing our business. But yeah. Kevin has this concept called the dream team, where he told me I would rather have 10% of the time of a CFO that could take me to $100 million than 110% of the time of a CFO that wouldn't get me past $1 million. And that's the concept of hiring who you can afford often caps you out and taps you out versus putting a dream team in place, sometimes which you don't even have to pay them if you incentivize them the right way. But if you put a dream team in place that can take you where you need to go, then likely you're going to get there. And so I would say aggressive curiosity, dream team, two of the biggest lessons I learned from Kevin. But most of all, I took what I learned from Kevin and I started applying it to home. I started treating my family like the most valuable business in the world. And I found out that aggressive curiosity works at home. And my ultimate dream team is my family at home. And I started seeing results that are beyond anything I could ever imagine at home. And that's when we wrote the book, Mentor to Millions. That was one of the commitments we made. We teach all the lessons that Kevin taught me, but we try to end every chapter with how you can take that lesson home to your most valuable business and bring them your best and your first instead of your last and your least.
Oh my goodness. I just love that. And I have to say that I love this concept of aggressive curiosity because I am all about, well, you may notice at the end, I remind people to stay curious because it is so key. And I love this dream team concept. I get it that so many people hire who they think they can afford and they miss out on who they need to get their business where they want it to go. So Kevin, I'm assuming that you think every business owner should have a mentor. Is that a fair assumption?
Absolutely. I believe, let's put it this way. If you're like a startup entrepreneur or startup business owner, you don't know what's coming. COVID threw a lot of wrenches in a lot of businesses. For many that were some of the most successful business owners it was like pulling a rug out from under them, right?
Yeah,
this is business life. We're thrown curveballs every single day. 30 years ago, one day, my bank shut down my merchant account and grabbed $2 million out of my account. And I didn't know what to do. Well, I got some mentors that helped me through that. And because I was never a finance guy. And so people have different strengths. And entrepreneurs, though, tend to, a lot of a lot of entrepreneurs are sole entrepreneurs. They take pride in being the entrepreneur, to do it themselves, to be their own boss. What they don't realize is that, when they were inside that corporation with that big structure and all those people, there was other people that were doing the things that maybe they weren't good at. And so now that they're responsible for all parts of the business, it's now time to make sure that you've got the right support team, and as Mark and I call it, the dream team, to help you succeed. And a dream team can be one or two or three or some grouping of mentors and coaches that you can bring together. So absolutely, I think everybody needs one.
Boy, I do too. And it's so true. I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs I've come across who were in corporate America, decided to leave, or the decision was made for them, and they decide to go into business for themselves, and it's like being hit in the face. They have no idea what just happened to them because they didn't even realize that they had people doing things for them. You sort of take it for granted. You don't realize it's a completely different landscape when you're on your own.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay. So this may sound like an easy question, but how does someone go about finding a business mentor? I mean, Mark, you figured out who you wanted and then you went toward Kevin. But for the people who are listening, how do they find somebody?
Yeah, I'll start with that,
Right.
Because Kevin and I, we get asked this question a lot. So how I found Kevin, but what you must understand is that Kevin wasn't my first mentor. So I didn't go for Shark Tank right out the gate. And so, I don't think I would have had the pitch that I had if I had done that. And so, I had my first mentor when I was 19. It was Zig Ziglar. And ironically, that's who Kevin had. Zig Ziglar as a mentor when he was a young man. And so that's how we actually met, was through the children of Zig Ziglar. So Mentor to Millions, the book, is actually about millions of people impacted, not millions of dollars. And the book itself is a living example of the power and the ripple effect of mentorship, because Zig was our mentor. He passed this earth. And then because of that mentorship, we met each other through the children of Zig Ziglar. So if you're out there and you're like, man, I don't know how to get a mentor, I don't have a network to get a mentor, I'm going to tell you that it starts like this. I mean, you can't see us right now, but I'm going to virtually ask if you're out there that you would raise your hand right now, raise your hand and say, I'm ready for a mentor. Because I actually believe that that's the first step. Over half of the people in this world do not have mentors. So less than half have mentors, more than half don't have mentors. And we believe that one of the main reasons that they don't have a mentor is because they are lacking courage, to raise their hand, and vulnerability to say, I'm ready. You notice that I didn't say I need, I want. I said, I'm ready, because it's like the old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Until you're ready to be mentored, until you're ready to have a mentor, you're likely not going to find a mentor. But if you're truly ready, if you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm ready, I'm coachable, I'm teachable, I'm ready, and you have the vulnerability to put yourself out there to your inner circle, I actually believe, and Kevin believes too, that you already know everybody you need to know to accomplish everything you've been put on this earth to accomplish. And I know that's a bold statement, and it may not be your exact inner circle, but somebody in your inner circle knows who you need to meet or be a mentor. And we challenged people to go to their social media and say, I'm ready for a mentor to help me grow my business. Do you know of one? Or can you introduce me to one? And I guarantee you'll get multiple responses, not just one response, but it takes courage, it takes vulnerability, and you've got to step out there and raise your hand and ask. And if you're truly ready, I believe that mentor is also ready. Right now, during COVID and quarantine, as a society, I believe we've never been in a time in our recent history where people are more willing to help others. The question is, are you ready to be helped?
Oh my gosh, I love that. And I agree with you. So let's talk about the mentor side of things. So why should someone become a mentor, seek to become one, and how do they go about that? Kevin, you want to take
Oh,
that one?
that's a good question. So I think that first thing you have to in your mind commit to wanting to give back to the entrepreneurial community or to whatever your skill set happens to be. But I mean, I go back to the first time I said I want to be a mentor, and it was 1987. I was sitting around with a bunch of successful young entrepreneurs, Michael Dell, Ted Leonsis. Ted was number 2 at AOL. He owns the Washington Capitals and the Wizards now, and is a billionaire. And of course, Dell is a billionaire many times over also. And we all got together and we said, we've made some mistakes. We've made some stupid things. But what if we've got a little group of us together and started mentoring young entrepreneurs? And so we started the Entrepreneurs Organization in 1987 to do just that. When you joined EO, you got a team of mentors and that worked with you on a monthly basis. And so for me, this, I had to write a check to help fund this organization. I traveled the world helping get the word out. I traveled Europe, I traveled Asia, I traveled South America, the United States, getting the word out about EO, opening up international chapters all over. We're now in 150 cities, 45 plus countries. And I said, it's time for me to do that. Now that was many years ago. I'm still doing it and have been doing it ever since. But I think that it's someone that has had success. And as Mark just said, there's many people sitting out there right now that are ready, willing, and able. And what they're waiting for is the knock on their door, the hand that goes up. I need help. And so it's time to do it. It's time to speak up. It's time for you as the mentor to raise your hand and say, I'm willing to do it. And I think that's part of what Mentor to Millions message is all about.
That's terrific. I keep thinking about people I know who are mentors and have been mentors over the years. And like you, once they start, they just keep doing it. It doesn't really seem like it's the kind of thing where you go, okay, well, done that, moving on to the next thing. There's something that's really powerful about being in that role.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that people approach different people to become mentors, but they're often afraid to go to high-level people. I will tell you that people are not afraid to come to me, the Shark. I get over 100 people a week that approach me for help. And so it used to be even more, but it's as many as way more than I can handle, at least at this point for sure. Yeah. But we try to steer people in the right direction. And so I just say, don't be afraid to go to a high level person. I mean, I had a chance to have Zig Ziglar as a mentor and Richard Branson as a mentor. And it was only because I asked and I went for it. So that's what people need to do. They need to raise that hand. That's where it all starts.
At this time, I would like to take a sponsor break. Accelerate Your Business Growth is happy to be sponsored by Audible.com. I'm sure you know that Audible.com has thousands of audiobook titles to choose from. What you might not know is all of the other content they have, like podcasts. They have Audible originals, guided meditations, and so much more. And the cool thing is, at least I think it's the cool thing, is that you can access all of that content on one platform. It's, I don't have to go to Audible for my audiobooks and then someplace else for my guided meditations. I can get it all right there. So we're offering you a free trial. So you can check it out for yourself. You can go to audibletrial.com/businessgrowth. Sign up for that free trial and do your own exploration. Check out those titles of audiobooks and, in all genres. Pick up on a couple of Audible originals. They're original for Audible, so you've never seen them before anywhere else. Listen to some podcasts, maybe do a little guided meditation. I think you're going to love it and enjoy it. Today we are speaking with Kevin Harrington and Mark Timm about the value of the mentor-mentee relationship. And how do you decide, as a mentor, how do you decide who you should be working with?
For me, I want to stay inside my wheelhouse. 40 years, I've been a product entrepreneur, and the Jack LaLanne and the Juicer and George Foreman and Billy Mays and Tony Little, that's my background. If somebody has a consumer product, I can help them. Now, let's say they need to raise capital. That's something I've been involved with for 40 years also. I can help them. So there's different things that if somebody says to me, I'm in the B2B business and I want to wholesale my products to major banks all around the world, that's not my area of expertise. I'm a direct to the consumer, e-commerce specialist, expert, whatever you want to call it. That's the kind of stuff that gets me excited. And those are the areas that I can give tremendous contribution to. So there, and at the same time, what's interesting, in the book, I talk about a general at MacDill Air Force Base. And this is so funny because I've approached people at MacDill Air Force Base because they have these General Chip Deal, for example. He's a retired general. He still hangs out at MacDill all the time. I'm going to go play golf with him in a couple of weeks because he said, Kevin, I read your book and you talk about me in the book. And I'm like, oh, nice. I'm glad that you got a chance. He said, well, I want to be a mentor to more people. Let's get together and talk about it. So, wow. I mean, here's a retired general from the U.S. military at MacDill Air Force Base that's calling me to say, get me some mentees. So there's many opportunities out there. Start with people you think that you need, and don't be afraid to go to the top.
Yeah, that's terrific. Don't be afraid to go to the top. And I love that, because when people are looking, then it's not just going after anybody. It's going to ask who you think can help you the most. Whether they can or not is the whole thing. You got to ask.
People ask too about what makes a good mentor, and as a mentee and somebody that's had a lot of mentors, one of the things I've realized is that some people go after this person because they read on the internet and they're so successful. But I tell people all the time, there's a few things you need to look for in a mentor if you're really going for it, and that is, number one, do they have mentors? One of the things I love about Kevin is he's still got mentors in his life. The guy is crazy successful, but he's still looking to learn and better himself, and you want to be mentored by a lifelong learner. The second thing is they better have failed. We did an entire chapter in Mentor to Millions called Failure to Phoenix, because you learn more from failure than you do success. And so if they've failed in their life, and oftentimes you can read about their success online, but you can't read about their failures. And so learning about how they failed, and by the way, a good mentor lets you fail. They don't, it's like a good parent lets their kids fail. They don't hover over them, because the learning is in the failure. But what that mentor does is they're there to pick you up. They're there to hold out a hand and help you up, dust you off, help you learn from that failure quickly so that you don't have to do it again. And so you want a failure that, you want a mentor that has failed, and you want a mentor that will listen to you, that's got 2 ears and 1 mouth, and will listen to what it is that you are trying to accomplish, what your unique gift to the world is. We really, in Mentor to Millions, we kind of teach that there is a formula for exponential impact. I mentioned before, the book is Mentor to Millions. The millions is about impact, and the impact formula goes like this. Number one, you have to find the right mentor. Number two, you then have to be that mentor's best student. And then number three, and this is so critical, you have to become a mentor yourself, because that's how you lock it in. Otherwise, you're just collecting wisdom, you're just collecting learning, but until you're implementing it, acting on it, and then teaching other people, that's where you start to exponentially impact the world. So if you have the right mentor, you become their best student, and then you start teaching other people, you are absolutely on your way to impacting millions of people during your lifetime.
Fabulous. Okay, now I have to ask you this question, because it's something that I've always wondered about. Is it a good idea, bad idea, or it depends to go into business with your mentor?
Oh, I'll answer that one. I would say because I've done this in numerous cases, that it's an okay idea, can be a good idea, but I also will say that it depends. Okay. So kind of going all the way around on that one. But I mean, Mark and I, we became partners in ventures. And so the advantage of that is when you get a chance to work with somebody in a mentor-mentee capacity. With Mark and I, it got into personal stuff. He would come in and we hung out at my house, and we would, his kids would come and the families, and we would, dinners and this and that. And so we got to know each other on quite a few levels. And the bottom line is that we said, yes, we can be partners, and we continue to have opportunities that we present to each other to get each other involved, knowing our strengths and weaknesses, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that, and at the end run, it's a great opportunity, because I've actually had some mentees in addition to Mark that I've been able to say, okay, I like this mentee. What business opportunities do I have that I could be sharing with this person to be involved with, and bringing opportunities to the table for the mentor and the mentee simultaneously. So I like the idea, but it doesn't work all the time.
Okay, so are there guidelines? That sounds to me like you really get to know someone over a real long period of time before you even have that idea in your head that there's something that makes sense.
Yeah, I'll step in and say that there's a little equation, and we talk about this in the book, because we talk about the fact that we went into business together in the book. I mean, we're kind of given, some little, hints of what's in the book, and there's so many stories and narratives. That's why it's such an easy read. But one of the things we talked about was know, like, and trust. Okay. So you go into business with someone, you have to actually know them, and you do get to know them through, like, you can say, oh, I've met this person, but you don't really know them. And that's where Kevin's talking about, I've been to his house. We played golf together. Our wives have met each other. My children have been to his house. So I know Kevin. I can actually say I know him. Okay. But secondly, it's one thing to get to know someone, but you need to say, do I like this person? because listen, the last person, it can make so much sense on paper to go into business with someone, but Kevin can testify to this. If you don't like them, it will end at some point, and it will not end well. And so it will just be like, the business is not even worth it, because I just don't like, we just don't connect in that level. So when you get to know them, you then have to do a gut check and say, do I like this person? And if you like this person, now they've checked two of the boxes. The third box, which is really the most important box, is, okay, I know them, I like them, do I trust them? Because to me, that factor of trust is the ultimate in doing business with someone else. The thing that I love most about being in business with Kevin is we may not always agree on everything, but I trust him. I know that he's never going to take advantage of me, and he knows I'm never going to take advantage of him. So that means even if the venture doesn't work out, we can wind it down in a classy way that protects our know and like part of the equation, because we trust each other. And so trust in a business partnership is paramount. It's like number 1 through 5 of what's important, and then everything else follows after that. Because if you can trust that other person, you can be in business with them. Even if it doesn't work out, you'll be okay. And if it does work out, you'll be okay, because both sides are going to take care of each other.
Thank you so much for that. And thank you both for joining me to talk about the book. The book really is terrific, and it just published in September, if I'm not mistaken about that.
It came out just a couple weeks ago, and I'm here to tell you, since we're recording this after the publish date, I can tell you that Kevin and I found out some news last week. We were the number 2 best-selling book on Wall Street Journal, and the only book that beat us is from this guy that probably no one's ever heard of, named Dan Rather. And so, but if you're gonna get beat by somebody,
yeah, right.
If you get beat by a Dan Rather and Oprah Winfrey, you're okay.
Yeah, it's like being first, right?
So we were number 2, Wall Street Journal. We were a best-selling book on USA Today, and we were number 1 in every category that we wanted on Amazon. And at one point in time, I'm really proud of this. Kevin is the entrepreneur's entrepreneur. For almost 10 days in a row, we were the number 1 book on Amazon for entrepreneurship. But then about day 3 into that, we became the number 1 book on Amazon for parenting. So we were the number 1 book in entrepreneurship and the number 1 book in parenting for almost 7 days. And it was like the holy grail for both of us, because I really, I believe so strongly that our most valuable business is our family. And so to speak into the hearts of entrepreneurs and parents and families at the same time was like the ultimate I think for both of us. So and I got to tell one more story. So one of Kevin's other mentors that he didn't meet, but it was his first book he read that his dad gave him, was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And so when we were number 1 in entrepreneurship, the number 2 book was Think and Grow Rich, the very first book that Kevin read. And so we've got to get that framed for him, because I can't imagine anything being cooler than that.
No kidding. And boy, it just proves how impactful mentorship is, right? When you can best one of your mentors, even someone you never met. Yeah, terrific. Wow. Okay. And so I'm making the assumption that people can basically get the book anywhere.
Yeah, anywhere books are sold. Amazon obviously is the quickest and easiest, and they're still in stock. Other retailers have actually sold out because of the strength we had going behind the book. And so, but yeah, anywhere books are sold, go out there, get a book. We recommend you get a book for your mentor, you get a book for someone you should be mentoring, and you get a book for yourself. And so, so that's kind of the trifecta of really taking this to the next level.
Yeah, it's terrific. Well, I so appreciate both of you. I know that you're very busy, and Kevin, happy birthday.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're so welcome. I hope you have a spectacular day, both of you. Thank you so much for being with me.
Thank you, Diane. A lot of great questions, and I hope we were able to share some good insight for the world of mentoring and menteeing also. Okay.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you did. Yeah. Mark, any parting words?
No, I just appreciate you and the time that we spent together, and it's fun to be able to wish my partner, my co-author, happy birthday in front of your whole community as well. I sent him a note this morning, but I echo Diane. Kevin, I hope you have an amazing day today. And in spirit of Kevin's birthday, we're going to do something here. We did this. Kevin doesn't know, but we did this for pre-orders, but we're going to do it for your community because it's Kevin's birthday. Anyone who buys the book and goes to kevinmentor.com, Kevin Mentor, treated as all one word. Kevin and I did some private mentorship for 30 days. We went on video and we taught the lessons that we teach our mentees and that Kevin taught me and I teach in the family space. And so if you go to kevinmentor.com, you show us you bought the book, we'll give you that 30-day mentorship for free from Kevin and I, just because it's Kevin's birthday. So how can you beat that?
Beautiful.
That is so great. Well, that is just terrific. Thank you so much. And listeners, thank you. This was such a great subject. The book is fabulous. Please go get it. And then go over to kevinmentor.com, show them you bought the book, and take advantage of that 30 days of private mentorship. I mean, my gosh, you can't beat it. I'd also like to thank our sponsor, audible.com. And to get your free trial of audible.com, go to audibletrial.com/businessgrowth, sign up for the free trial, and go exploring. As always, continue to prosper and be curious. And until we meet again on another episode of Accelerate Your Business Growth, goodbye and good day.
Me, but also you. The Pharaoh fast forwards his favorite foreign film, Powder Donut. Okay, what's my line?
The only line I see here on the script is get options based on your budget with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive.
Oh man, that's a tongue twister, huh? I'm sorry, I'm gonna need a few more minutes. Bulbous Walrus, the Bulbous Walrus.
The Name Your Price tool, only from Progressive.
The owl ran afoul of the comatose coxswain.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
The world's best-known investor and Wall Street expert Warren Buffett once said, "Wall Street is the only place that people ride to in a Rolls-Royce to get advice from those who take the subway." Mr. Buffett's quote is remarkably accurate, but how many people would rather receive advice from him than someone simply guessing? Welcome to Buy, Hold, Sell, your single source for Wall Street knowledge and profitable guidance. Please join me, Todd Schoenberger, and fellow trader Tobin Smith, as well as host Veronica Dudo, for a podcast known to move the needle for investors. Tobin and I are seasoned Wall Street executives with deep investment experience, and we are prepared to share our advice to those who choose to listen. Download Buy, Hold, Sell today on the Evergreen Podcast Network or your favorite podcast channel.